Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to another magical journey on Boost My English, the place where stories come alive and every word takes you closer to better English. Today's story is very special. It's called Tears of the Time Weaver, a beautiful tale filled with mystery, emotion, and timeless adventure. This story will take you through memories, magic, and moments that touch the heart, all in simple English to help you learn and feel at the same time. So before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel Boost My English, and don't forget to share this story with your friends who love powerful stories and want to grow their English skills. Now, sit back, take a deep breath, and let the journey of Tears of the Time Weaver begin. A long, long ago, in a quiet village wrapped in the arms of a sleepy forest and the gentle whispers of mountains, there lived a boy named Arden. He wasn't a hero. He didn't wear armor or carry swords. He simply listened to the wind, to the river, and to the stories that time tried to bury. Every evening, while other children played, Arden would sit by the old banyan tree at the edge of the village, staring into the horizon, as if searching for something the world had forgotten. Arden's village was small, untouched by war or greed. Life moved slowly, like the rhythm of the seasons. The people were kind, but they feared what they didn't understand. They told tales of the outside world, stories filled with danger and magic, with things that bend time and twist fate. But Arden wasn't afraid. He felt that somewhere beyond the hills and clouds, something was calling him, something ancient. He often asked his mother about his father, but she would only smile, eyes heavy with silence. All she gave him was a charm, a tiny piece of metal shaped like an hourglass, cracked and dull, hanging from a worn leather string. "This was his," she whispered once. "Keep it close. One day it will show you the truth." One stormy night, as thunder danced across the sky and the village lanterns flickered like fireflies, Arden had a dream. He saw a vast desert where time stood still. In the center, a grand hourglass floated above the sand, turning slowly without hands. Beneath it stood a figure, cloaked in shadow and starlight. The figure raised its arm, and the charm around Arden's neck began to glow. He woke with a gasp. The charm was warm in his palm. That morning, Arden made a decision. He packed a small bag, tied his father's charm around his neck, and left a note beside his sleeping mother. With no map and no answers, he stepped beyond the village gates, following a path carved not by men, but by fate itself. The journey of the Time Weaver had begun. The sky above was filled with clouds shaped like broken clocks, and time felt twisted. "I must find the other tears," he whispered to himself, remembering the words of the hooded figure. The island began to move. It floated through the air, guided by invisible forces. Elric sat down, trying to calm his thoughts. As the island floated across the sky, he saw other lands in the distance, some lush and green, others dark and cracked like burnt paper. One island in particular pulled the floating land toward it. It was gray and foggy, with crooked buildings and old, rusty bells ringing in the distance. When Elric stepped off the island onto the gray land, he felt something strange. He could barely remember his own name. His memories were slipping away like sand between his fingers. He reached into his pocket and held the tear. Its warm light brought some clarity back to his mind. "This place is dangerous," he said. "It eats memories." He walked through the mist, past old houses with boarded-up windows. Ghostly figures stood at doorways, whispering to each other in slow, broken voices. They looked like normal people but faded, like old drawings. Elric tried speaking to one of them. "Excuse me, do you know where I can find the next tier?" The ghostly figure turned slowly. "The Weaver's soul is hidden, but guarded, by the Warden of Forgotten Days." Elric felt a chill. "Where can I find this warden?" The figure pointed to a clock tower that leaned dangerously to one side. "There." Elric made his way to the tower. As he got closer, he noticed that every step he took made the air thicker. Thoughts became harder to form. He almost forgot why he had come. But the tear in his pocket glowed brighter, lighting the path ahead. At the tower's base was a massive door with carvings of stars, moons, and a figure weaving strands of time like thread. Elric pushed it open and stepped inside. The tower's interior was filled with mirrors. Some were tall and cracked, others small and perfect. They showed scenes from people's lives, birthdays, goodbyes, lonely nights, and joyful mornings. As Elric moved through, the mirrors started showing him his own memories. He saw himself as a baby in his mother's arms. He saw the night his father vanished into the woods. He saw Nana Wren telling stories beside the fire. Suddenly, one of the mirrors cracked. The air grew colder. The Warden of Forgotten Days had arrived. It was a tall, shadowy creature with a face like melting wax and eyes that ticked like clocks. Its voice echoed in many layers. "You should not be here, Time Touched. This is where lost moments sleep." "I came for the tear," Elric said bravely, gripping the crystal blade. "The Weaver's soul must be restored." The Warden's laughter was like breaking glass. "Then face the forgotten truths." The mirrors around Elric shattered, and he was thrown into a swirl of visions. He saw things he had buried deep, his fear, his guilt, his anger. He saw a version of himself standing by while the world burned, frozen with fear. He screamed, "This isn't who I am!" The tear pulsed in his pocket, stronger now, and the crystal blade burst into flame. He slashed through the visions one by one until he stood alone in the room again. The Warden fell back, weakened. "You remember too much," it hissed. Elric walked forward. "I remember enough." He held out his hand. From the heart of the tower, a second tear floated down. It was dark blue and shimmered with sad light. As he touched it, it joined the first tear, and a soft melody played in the air, like a lullaby forgotten long ago. The Warden began to fade. "The more you gather, the harder it will become. Each tear holds truth, and truth hurts." "I'm not afraid," Elric said, though his hands were trembling. The tower crumbled around him, and his floating island returned, waiting to carry him to the next land. He looked back once at the island of Forgotten Days, now silent and gray. Then he looked ahead. Only 2 tears, and already he felt changed. The sky whispered again, and the island floated on. The forest that dreams. Elric floated on the shimmering island, watching as the gray mists of the island of Forgotten Days faded behind him. The 2 tears he had collected glowed in his pocket, one bright and clear, the other dark and sad. Their presence kept his mind sharp, his memories intact, and his purpose alive. As the island drifted forward through the sky, he saw a vast emerald forest stretching below. It sparkled strangely, like the leaves were wet with dew or stars. Elric felt a strange pull in his heart, as if the forest was calling his name. The island slowly descended, settling on a soft patch of moss near the edge of the woods. A wooden sign stood nearby, cracked with age and half swallowed by ivy. It read, "Beware the forest that dreams. Thoughts become trees, and fears find roots." Elric stepped off the island and onto the forest floor. Immediately, a warm breeze brushed past him, carrying the scent of honey and old books. The trees whispered, not in words, but in emotions, memories, feelings, fragments of dreams. The deeper Elric walked, the more unreal everything became. Flowers blinked like eyes. Trees shifted their branches without wind. A stream flowed upward, and all around, soft voices whispered things he had never said aloud. "I wish I could be brave. I miss him every day. What if I'm not enough?" Elric stopped. This place is alive. It's made of dreams. Suddenly, a tree nearby twisted, and a face appeared in its bark, gentle and old, with moss for a beard. It spoke slowly. "You walk the dream path now, child. Be careful what you feel. The forest listens." Elric nodded, gripping his blade and stepping deeper into the woods. The forest grew thicker. Colors changed. The sky above darkened, then brightened, then vanished completely. Time was strange here. Hours passed like seconds. Seconds felt like days. Then he heard crying. He followed the sound to a clearing where a young girl sat alone, her hair silver like moonlight, her dress torn. She looked up with tear-filled eyes. "I can't find my dream," she whispered. "Have you seen it?" Elric knelt beside her. "What does your dream look like?" She pointed to the trees. "It was a bird made of starlight. I followed it, but now I'm lost." Elric stood and held out his hand. "Come with me. We'll find it together." As they walked, the forest changed around them. Trees opened paths. Flowers lit the way. They reached a wide pond, its surface perfectly still. Reflections swirled in the water, memories and fears. Suddenly, the girl gasped. "There!" A glowing bird flew above the pond, but dark vines rose from the water, pulling it down. Elric ran forward, drawing his blade. The vines hissed and formed a shadowy creature, tall, thin, with glowing red eyes and a mouth that stretched too wide. "You do not belong here, time-touched," it growled. "Dreams are not yours to save." Elric didn't hesitate. He swung the blade, which shimmered with the colors of sunrise. The creature dodged and struck back with vines of nightmare and sorrow. Elric was knocked to the ground, his vision blurred. Then the girl stepped forward. "This is my dream," she said. "You can't have it." She held her hands out. Light poured from her chest, forming a shield around Elric. The creature screamed, shrinking, burning away into dust. The bird flew free, circling above them before settling gently on the girl's shoulder. "Thank you," she whispered. "I remember now. I am the dream keeper. This forest is my home. You passed the trial." She reached into her heart and pulled out a tear, soft lavender and glowing gently. "This belongs to the weaver. Take it." Elric accepted it with both hands. As it joined the others, a new strength filled him. Hope. The forest around them brightened, and the trees hummed a sweet tune. "There will be others who try to stop you," the Dreamkeeper warned. "Even your own mind." Elric nodded. "I'll keep going. I have to." He returned to his floating island, now glowing faintly with each tear he had gathered. As he rose into the sky once more, he looked back at the forest that dreams, one step closer, but the road ahead would not be easy. The ticking of time echoed softly in his ears. The city beneath the clock. Elric stood on the floating island, now glowing brighter than ever with the 3 tears he had collected. Each tear added something new to the light around him, a memory, a feeling, a sense of something deeper than time. As the island floated onward, the sky turned a dull silver. Thick clouds churned above, and thunder rumbled like a giant's growl. Below, a strange city appeared. It was built into the side of a massive mountain, half hidden beneath layers of fog. Towering gears and pipes stuck out from rooftops, and giant metal arms turned silently in the mist. Every building had a clock on it, each one ticking at a different pace. Some fast, some slow, some moved backward. The island slowly descended toward a grand stone platform. Elric stepped off and was immediately met with the heavy scent of oil and rust. Machines clicked and hissed in the shadows. He held the tears close to his chest. They gave him warmth. A sign above a rusted gate read, "Welcome to Cronus Deep, city beneath the clock. All time comes here to be forgotten." Elric walked through the gate. Inside, the city was filled with people, but none of them looked alive. They moved like machines, cold, stiff, and empty-eyed. They carried pocket watches, all ticking differently. Some held them tightly, others let them dangle. He approached a woman sitting on a bench, her face pale like wax. "Excuse me, do you know where I can find the Tear the Time Weaver?" She didn't answer. Instead, her eyes rolled upward, and her voice came out in a mechanical tone. "The tear lies beneath the master gear, but beware the keeper of stolen seconds." Suddenly, all the people in the square turned toward Elric at once, their watches ticking in sync. The sound grew louder. He stepped back. The crowd began to chant in hollow voices. "Time is not yours. Time must not be touched." Elric ran. He dashed through narrow alleys and over winding bridges. Pipes steamed, gears turned. He could hear the crowd behind him, still ticking, still chanting. Finally, he reached a large building shaped like an hourglass tipped on its side. On its door was a symbol he recognized, the Time Weaver's mark. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. It was silent. The room was full of clocks, thousands of them, all ticking in different rhythms. In the center was a glass floor, beneath which a massive gear turned slowly. Floating above it was a tear, golden and pulsing like a heartbeat. But as he stepped forward, a creature rose from the shadows. It was tall and thin, dressed in robes made of broken watch straps. Its head was a metal mask shaped like a clock face, with spinning hands instead of eyes. In one hand, it held a twisted cane made of melted timepieces. "You are not welcome here," the creature said. "I am the keeper of stolen seconds. I guard the tears of moments taken." "I don't want to steal time," Elric replied. "I'm trying to fix it. The Weaver's soul." "Silence," the keeper snapped. "You carry what does not belong to you. Give me the tears." The creature raised its cane. Time in the room slowed. Elric's breath felt like ice. His movements became sluggish. He closed his eyes, focused on the tears. Their light warmed him, steadied him. With a yell, he drew his blade, which now glowed with the light of 3 tears. He swung at the air, sending a wave of energy through the slowed time. The keeper staggered. "You fight against the order. Time must be controlled." "Not controlled, guided," Elric said. The battle was fierce. Every blow sent ripples through the ticking air. Clocks shattered, sparks flew. Finally, with a final cry, Elric struck the keeper's mask. It cracked down the middle, and time rushed back into the room. The keeper fell to its knees, its voice softened. "You are the chosen thread. The Weaver marked you, for a reason." It vanished into dust. The golden tear floated down. Elric caught it. As it joined the others, a new vision filled his mind, of the Time Weaver herself, a woman made of stars and thread, weeping over a tapestry torn apart. "You must hurry," her voice echoed. "The unraveling spreads." The clocks around him stopped ticking. He stepped back onto his floating island. The sky was darker now. In the distance, something vast and shadowy moved. The air felt heavy. 4 tears gathered, 4 trials passed, and still the road stretched far ahead. As Arden stepped beyond the lake of memories, the land itself seemed to breathe with him. Trees bent gently as if recognizing the burden he now carried. The world no longer looked the same, not because it had changed, but because he had. The hourglass hanging from his neck pulsed softly, its glow dim but steady, like the heartbeat of time itself. Far ahead, perched atop a quiet hill surrounded by whispering grass, stood the Temple of Echoed Time. Its walls were cracked with age, but it still held the final truth. Arden walked slowly, every footstep sinking into the earth like ink into parchment. He was writing the final lines of his journey. Inside the temple he found silence, not emptiness, but a peaceful hush. At the center, there lay a stone pedestal with a single message carved into it. To change time is to understand it, not to rewrite it. He placed the hourglass gently upon the pedestal. Suddenly, the walls around him shimmered. A soft golden light filled the room, and out of the air came the spirits of the Time Weavers before him, shadows made of stars and ancient light. They circled around Arden like a gentle tide, watching, waiting. One of them, a tall woman with hair like flowing dusk, stepped forward. "You came not to escape your pain but to carry it," she said, her voice echoing across the temple. "You sought no shortcut, no revenge. You have remembered what others chose to forget." Arden lowered his head. "I only wanted to make sense of it all, to bring meaning to what was lost." The weaver smiled. "Then you are ready." And then everything around him dissolved into light. Arden didn't return to his village. Not because he didn't want to, but because his journey wasn't about returning. It was about continuing. He became a quiet traveler, walking from village to village, helping people understand their past, their pain, their broken moments. He didn't speak of the hourglass. He didn't speak of the temple. He simply listened, and when the time was right, he told stories of a boy who walked through time not to fix the past, but to carry its truth into the future. Years passed. Some said he was a myth, some claimed to have met him, but all remembered his words, simple and strong. We cannot change what has happened, but we can choose how we carry it forward. One morning, in a village on the edge of the mountains, a child found an old book with faded pages. On its cover, in curling script, were the words, "Tears of the Time Weaver." Inside, the story unfolded, of loss, of courage, of a journey beyond time. And on the last page, beneath a sketch of a boy walking into light, was a final message. Time does not heal all wounds, but it gives us the strength to live with them. And in that, we become more than just people. We become stories that never fade. Moral of the story: we cannot undo the past. No magic, no power, no time travel can erase what has already been lived. But when we face our memories instead of running from them, when we learn to carry the weight of our experiences with wisdom, we grow. Life is not about changing what was. It is about understanding, accepting, and choosing how we move forward. And in doing so, we become stronger, kinder, and more human. A journey ends, but the memory stays forever. Love,